Everyone, hope you're all doing well. Let's see. Who do we have here? There we go. That's better. So we have Habibi Max, or says, Marin, can too much porn cause HOCD and false attraction? There's nothing specific that can cause or doesn't cause HOCD. It has a lot to do with the signals that the brain is passing back and forth with its own apparatus. So it's a malfunction of the signaling system. And certain things could create more inventory of material for the brain to make thoughts with it, or to go into detail with it, when it's not something that you would be interested at all. But brain doesn't know when you're watching something what part of it is interesting to you. It can make intrusive thoughts about any part. So you're watching porn, and obviously you enjoy seeing the woman giving sex, and getting what she's getting. She's getting not. So natural, but however, there's another element in there, and that's the guy. And the brain is also noticing that, and it might make a mistake thinking that you're also interested in that, which you're not. It's just part of the sex that you, in order for you to feel the complete suggestion of the visual pleasure, so they have to include both parties to engage in sex for it to create that sexual emotional pleasure via the rituality systems. And while it's doing that, the brain just picking up all that information, and the one that you're not interested in, which is what's the guy is doing and his dick and all that, that's the one that you're not interested in as you're heterosexual. Therefore, the brain picks up on that what you're most disinterested, because amygdala wants to protect you from what you are not interested, and you don't find that having anything to do with your identity. So without you really knowing, it's trying to protect you from that fear of you ever becoming anything other than what you are, which is a heterosexual in your case. So therefore, amygdala becomes overactive, and the brain is sensitive to know what you're most concerned about, and throws that in as a way to create that interaction and attention and energy to create occupation, So the brain finds security in occupation with you. How can it create occupation if it constantly says, yeah, that's pretty girl, and that's nice that you're enjoying, she's getting rammed, or whatever the expression would come to its vocabulary. If it does that and say just about what you're interested in, which is seeing how the girl is actually performing, there would be no engagement between brain and you, because you'd say, yeah, right, great. And that's it. But if it hits you with what you're not interested and you're not inclined to, you're not, it's not your part of your identity or interest, then you rise to defend yourself. So what? How dare you say that? I'm not interested in that. And you start trying to prove to the brain that you're not what you don't want to be and what the brain is suggesting. And that creates that energy that the brain is looking for to create occupation. So you will feel so the brain would feel secure, because brain finds security different than the physical portion of your body finds security. Your body finds security when you're in a secured physical environment. You're in your home, the door is locked, you're in a good part of town, you're in a physical, safe physical environment, your body feels secure. Brain, I call mind and brain the same and in this conversation, but mind and brain are totally different. Mind, doesn't find security in the same way that the body finds in a physical, secured physical environment. It finds its security in occupation, in being busy, and to create busyness with you, to get interaction and your attention and your anger and emotions, so it will be finding a home, because brain doesn't have a home. It's virtual. And when it's virtual, it's all over the place. For it to find some kind of a concentrating point, it needs to create occupation, busyness. For that reason, it creates anger, emotion, things that you're not interested in. So you rise above and argue with it. And in that occupation, it finds security. So I hope that's enough discussion on that. And we have a super chat. Great Jedi Serena. Oh my goodness, you're here as well. Says, thank you for your advice the other night. You're quite welcome, my dear. I mean, you're so gracious and you're putting shame to everybody else, or rather me. You're spending your money. At least I hope there would be a question that you would like to ask. I'd be more than happy to do my best. So let's go back to, so Habib, I hope that would answer your question for now. There's a lot more to discuss about this intrusive thoughts and the role of amygdala, basal ganglia, midbrain, striatum, caudate nucleus, prefrontal cortex, and all these parts, components that are involved in OCD and OCD subsets, including intrusive thoughts and so on. But I have to kind of make it short in these kind of settings so we can get to other discussions, because I love these discussions and I could go a little bit too deep, and before you know it, half an hour later, I'm still talking. So let's move on to Anchor Bahra. And he says, hello there. He says, 18 male from India here, suffering from severe HOCD. I'm in college and I'm facing a lot of false attraction. I can't focus on the reason I have come here. Well, you can't focus on the reason you have come to university. That's on you. You cannot expect the ocean to be calm so you can sail your sailboat. You're supposed to become an experienced captain that you can avoid your boat capsizing in any kind of a weather or any kind of a ocean situations. You're telling me that I expect my brain to be all great and functioning perfectly so I can focus on, well, every Tom and Dick and Harry can focus on anything that there is no distraction. But as long as you think the distraction is you, then that's the problem. But when you recognize that you're not the brain and brain is not you, brain is an apparatus, is an organ, its job is to be a thought manufacturing plant. And in any plant, there are malfunctions and machinery breaks down and programs go haywire. And there would be things being produced on the assembly lines that was never supposed to be of that material. Because other than with the material that is standard and it's approved to get into the machine to create that product that is designed to for it to produce automatically, if other ingredients get into the machine, then that end product is going to be made from these materials, because the machine doesn't know what it should be looking for as far as the material concerned. It just turns it into that design, whatever is thrown in there. Same thing with brain. Brain really doesn't know what is going to create, if it's in line with your values or not. It just wants to create shit, anything that comes to mind. And from whatever is out there, whatever you watch, movies, videos, news, discussions you hear, all these information from all over the world, as much as it's talked about, and these days overly is talked about so many things that many of you may not be interested. But the brain gets a hold of them because they're being broadcasted through several different mediums. And that's what it holds its inventory and turns that into thoughts, like the machinery in the factory that is getting a different material in it, but it turns it into a product anyhow. So brain is going to turn whatever it comes in here into thoughts and makes a suggestion or images. And then you freak out because you say, whatever brain says, then that's what I am. Well, that's not true. Brain is an organ, and its job is that, to make thoughts. You are above the brain. You're supposed to say, okay, I choose this thought. I don't choose this thought. I veto that thought because it's garbage. It's got nothing to do with me. Somebody else may like it, then they can choose it, but you don't. So you live by your choices and vetoes. You don't have to freak out, say, well, I can't focus on what I'm here to do because the brain is, what do you do when you're trying to study and your friends are playing music or there's a construction noise out there? You focus more, you focus more, you focus more, to the point that you don't hear the construction noise. You don't hear the music in the background. You don't hear the noise of the people in the corridors and the other rooms when you're living on campus. Because your focusing ability helps you to come back to attend to whatever you're there to attend to, rather than being distracted by thoughts and suggestions and images that is there because of the HOCD. So you need to recognize that you will handle this one way or another. First things first, you're not the brain. Brain is not you. So whatever is conjuring up, whatever image and thoughts is showing up in the screen of your head, it's irrelevant to you. It's got nothing to do with you. It's a malfunction of a device, brain. So on that note, you're safe, you relax, and now, how do I rewire this sick brain? Then there's Dr. Schwartz's fourth step. There's Dr. Philipson's extraordinary wisdom, and Dr. Jan Weiner, and many other experts that you study their work and you study my videos. There's like, I don't know, about 800 videos on this topic alone. And there's another 2,200 videos on breakups and what happens to your psyche when you break up and why you feel the way you do and why you can't move on and so on and how to move on. So all of these are available, but Anchor, from what I hear from all your questions, you're constantly focused on everything to be okay before you can do something. It's like you say, I can't really sleep unless my home is clean and the floorings are all clean. Well, if that's the case, I should never be able to sleep because I'm tired of doing all that with everything, my work and my clients and taking care of my mother and all the other challenges and the outside work and the inside work and the dinner that I should make and everything I do myself. So if that's the case, I really don't have time to keep my home spotless, which I actually prefer, and I do my best. However, you have to be reasonable that sometimes you got to give priority to what priority is needed there. Your priority is your studies, not to focus on what did the brain say? Oh, I got to argue with the brain. I don't want you to be there because I'm not this, I'm not that, I am this and that. Who are you trying to prove? A broken machine. You just focus on educating yourself about OCD and OCD subsets and how to rewire the brain. That's all. Don't freak out. It will eventually go away. But the more you pay attention to it and complain about it and make a fuss about it, the more you're training the brain to keep doing that what you don't like. Because that's how neuroplasticity works. That's how you get good at something, when you constantly do it. And what you're doing is focusing on intrusive thoughts and the fact that it's HOCD, false this, false that. Doesn't matter. You have false attraction. You know it's false attraction. So who gives a shit? Go on, do your thing. The more you fuss about, oh, it's false. How can I get rid of it? I got to destroy it. All that is giving more attention to that false attraction. And the brain thinks you want this to be continued because you're conditioning it to spend time on it and argue about it. The brain doesn't know you're arguing about it. Brain thinks that there's signals coming about this, which makes the brain thinks that you should make more of that. That's why when you recognize this, okay, that's that nasty thing. Again, okay, I go back doing my own business. You focus on whatever it is that you should be focusing. Your studies, so as hard as it is, keep focusing, keep focusing, keep focusing. Eventually, it'll be less and less intrusive thoughts, more and more of an open space for you to do what you're set out to do and are at the university to do. All right. And you keep saying things like this. I really don't want to be bi or gay ever, but this false attraction, as if it's up to your brain what you're going to be. Brain can come up with 24/7 images that is distracting or unwanted to you and disturbing to you. But that is not going to make you change from what you are to anything else. It cannot. Brain suggestion is a suggestion. It cannot change your genetics and how you've been put together in the womb of your mother. It just distracts you and annoys you because you protect what you are and you love what you are. So you become concerned about it. But it's the brain's suggestion. The suggestions on their own cannot do anything. It just creates fear into your heart, but nothing can ever happen just because the brain keeps pushing something. If somebody comes along and walks behind you and keeps telling you, hey, I want to fuck you, what are you going to say? Oh, well, I wait till it's see if it's 500 times, then I'll let him fuck me. No, it's 1,000,000 times you still say, go fuck off. And that's the same thing with the brain that is malfunctioning and keeps making such thoughts that fix the hell out of you, suggests you that you will be this gender or that gender, you'll change this and that. It won't happen. It just creates that disturbance in you, which stops you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish. You are bigger than brain. You're the stronger than brain. You're above the brain. Brain cannot reach your powers of veto and choices. Cannot. So stop waiting for the brain to allow you to do what you want. You're the master of everything that is part of you, including brain. So you allow yourself and you don't pay attention to the brain, and eventually brain learns that your attention will not go to it if it doesn't behave. And over time, it'll dissipate less and less and less. And if it does show up again, you know what it is, so you won't freak out. Because you won't freak out, the attention to it is less and it will dissipate by itself. And your knowledge will make you even stronger than you ever thought you could be in any kind of a situation or suggestion, including the one that you're constantly worried about. All right. Now, and then on top of that, you say, and sir, how do I tackle this heavy homesickness? Please tell this also. Listen, you see, this is ridiculous, really, because you don't seem to actually want to use what I said. Because when you send me a comment of the same question, I took the time and wrote it elaborately for you. That my parents sent me to the United States when I wasn't quite 18, was younger than you. And I was 22 hours by plane away from home. not just a city from one part of India to another, which is like, I don't know, 20,000 miles. I don't know how far it is. I was pretty far away. 4 years in university. So what happened? I had to learn English too at the beginning. So, but you gotta submerge yourself into the culture, into the new things, and learn and be happy about learning what's the environment, what's the culture, what's the new things are in university, the whole atmosphere of it, and how to study, what the library is like, and what the rules are. All that makes you to be excited about the new situation rather than thinking about, oh, I want my mommy. Well, how long you want to have your mommy and be at home to eat her cooking and feel safe? How long? When are you going to become a man? This is your first step to become a man. So suck it up and shut the fuck up and go do your studies. I don't give a shit what comes to your head. Be a man, and this is the time you're going to show yourself that you're a man, not when something shows up in your head and you freak out and you think, if it's not there, then you are what you want to be. And if it's there, you're less of what you are. No, this is what makes you less. That you can't figure it out. You can't muster up enough muscle and patience and power and focus to do what you're there to do, despite of it all. That you're away from home sickness, or you have OCD or HOCD in your head. You got to deal with it. Life is not going to wait for you. Life doesn't give a shit who you are. It's going to throw you curveballs. It's going to destroy everything that you hoped for, but you got to bring them back by your perseverance, strength, power. Educate yourself. Be patient. Believe in yourself. You're there for a reason. What's that reason? Make yourself and your parents proud. They spend time and money, raised you, paying for your education. They send you over for you to become a man, seeing challenges and learning from it and become stronger. Not somebody that after all that money, spend time, says, oh, I want to go home, I'm homesick. Learn the ropes around, take care of yourself, be safe, make good decisions, you'll be fine. Focus on what you're there to accomplish, not how wonderful mom's cooking was. I didn't have my mom's cooking for God knows how long. And now she's old, I can't have it. All right, go to it. I know you can do it. You're a good guy, you're a good kid, and you're getting older, and use that opportunity of these challenges of this sort. These are no challenges. These are something that everybody has to deal with. There are bigger challenges out there. If you're going to cry for these sort of things, what are you going to do tomorrow when something really drastic, God forbid, happens? So you use these to become stronger, ready, wiser, and practice to be someone who can handle things just like that captain who can navigate his little boat or his ship in any kind of an ocean water so it won't capsize. You will not know what kind of a weather you're going to take your ship into. You can't stop the wind from blowing. You can't stop the wave from flowing, but you can become an experienced captain. So under no circumstance, your boat will be capsized. Keep your balanced boat, and steady as she goes, go where you're supposed to do and go where you're supposed to go. I know you can do it. So make me proud and make yourself and parents proud. More important, make yourself proud that you now have the confidence that you can do things even though they seem tough. You're tougher than tough. All right. Rahamati Khan says, a male 20 Indian HOCD sufferer. I'm kind-hearted, sensitive, emotional person. Being male with sensitive, emotional heart is not natural, right? No. Who says that? It's bullshit. I'm male, I'm emotional, I'm sensitive, I'm strong as an ox. Everything has its own place. As I mentioned before, you will never find a strong warrior of old Japan with the strongest sword if that sword only has that hard metal in it and nothing of the flexible metal melted inside that sword. What they do, they make that soft metal material a little flexible, not soft, but a little flexible, and then over it they have that toughness, or vice versa, however the technique is. Because if it's just brittle, once it hits hard, it breaks. But if it has flexibility, once it's hard, it flexes but still cuts through like nothing else. A man is also made out of both qualities: masculinity, masculine energy, and femininity, a feminine energy. These two combine and coordinate and complement each other. So it becomes a strong yet flexible man, so it won't break under pressure. It can resist, it can endure, and it can be efficient when it wants to do the job. That's what you're hoping for. A real man is a man who has compassion, can give love and receive love, can feel for people, to protect. A man is supposed to protect women and children. How can you protect if you cannot feel? And how can you feel if you're not sensitive? How can you be sensitive if you're not emotional? So what you've heard is a bunch of crock of bullshit for cunts and stupid idiot dicks who don't know what humanity and human psyche is all about. They just pretend that they know what a man to be. Those are women who really don't know what a man to be. They think he's supposed to be rough and tough and ugly and doesn't give a shit about anybody. Selfish. That's not a man. That's a jackass. And the men who think just because they're big or strong, that means that's all there is to be a man. Well, a donkey is big and strong, has a big dick. But that doesn't make it a man, does it? It just makes it a male of donkey. So being a male is different than being a man. You want to be a man, you got to be flexible, capable to love, feel emotional, be sensitive, yet strong. Sensitive doesn't mean you're crying and everything. Oh, my coffee is cold. That's not the sensitive I'm talking about. But it is perfectly fine to feel for people's agony and suffering and cry for it if you have to. But that doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong. You care. You're part of the universal energy. Look at the universal energy that we're all made out of. That's the same energy that's made the rocks and the mountains and the flowers and the twigs of the grass and the trees that they go back and forth, and the willow and all these wonderful, soft and sweet and gentle things. Animals like crocodile and animals and birds like sparrow. That's the way of the nature. And so we should mimic and follow the way of the nature. Strong, yet capable of giving love, receiving love, emotion, sensitivity, bringing that balance, protecting your loved ones, protecting the innocent, and also be able to feel their agony and suffering, to know what to do, to be able to do everything we need to do when it's time and its own place. That's a man. So get that shit out of your head. Anchor sister, I would love to do one-on-one interaction with you, but it's too expensive. No, it's not expensive enough. You just don't have enough money. So don't say it's too expensive. Because for what I do, the charge is usually about $300, $400, $500 per hour. I only charge $100 an hour, which is because I want everybody to be able to afford it. Now, you're 18 years old, you don't have a job, it's understandable. That's why I have these live streams for you guys to come and enjoy and ask your questions for free. Now, hopefully soon, as I had asked my programmer to create this kind of a service on my site, there would be a possibility for people who don't have enough money to have a one-on-one private chat with me on Skype would be able to pay a fraction of that amount. I don't know, maybe $30 or $50, depending on what it is. And the session would have 10 or 20 people in it, and you all can hear each other's question and answers, benefit from those questions as well when I answer them, plus your own questions that you can ask. And the time would be maybe 2 or 3 hours long, so I can get to everybody's questions, and it would be beneficial to everyone, but it would also be affordable for everyone. It's just not one-on-one or private, but it's better than like maybe 1 hour show or something is enough time with enough information. So we'll know when that can happen. So far, my programmer is apparently busy. It's been, he told me it'll be done in a month, but it's been now 8 months. So hopefully he'll get the time. If not, I would have to remind him. And Christopher Esquilin says, gracias, señor. Prego, I guess. and Rahmati Khan says, how to make me courageous in all situations. I'm a fearful coward from childhood, and I don't like being a coward, and I prefer to die rather than being a coward due to OCD fears. Well, OCD is a thought. You can't be afraid from a thought. You're afraid from a thought that can become an actuality, and that'll never happen. It's just how you've been duped to think since childhood that the brain is you. Whatever it says is the wisdom. It's not. Brain is stupid. There is no part of the brain that these neurosurgeons have ever been able to localize intelligence in it. Never, nowhere. Brain is just a machine, material process. That's all. When you really become aware of all these facts, then you're not afraid of the thought. Thought has no power. You have the power. Your awareness has the power, and only that has the power. It has the power and knowledge and education and the smarts to tell you that what the brain is saying is contradictory to your values. It gives you that alarm. It shows you that that's not me. But the brain is just spitting it out. But the awareness is, hey, that's not relevant to me. I'm not interested in that. If there was no awareness, then you would never know what the brain says is not in line with your values, and you don't like it. Because the brain is you, right? You're the brain, right? If that was the case, then you wouldn't even notice anything that you don't like or you do like. But because awareness is you, not the brain, when the brain makes shit out and garbage that is not in line with your values, awareness lets you know, hey, this thing, this person, or this thing is saying nonsense. Because you wouldn't notice it if it was in line with your values. You notice it because there's a contradiction. There will never be an awareness if there is no contradiction. So if the brain was saying and you had no qualms about it and no difference in opinion or values, there would be no contradiction. There would be no awareness about something that is not in line with your values. But because you notice it, that means your awareness is telling you that you're not what it says. Because you're not. You gotta understand the role of the brain and what the brain is and what the awareness is. So you are on top of the brain. Brain is just a servant. It's just one of the apparatuses that, like any other apparatus, kidney, liver, or whatever else, it can malfunction. So you gotta help it to rewire itself and get back to its default setting. not freak out. Oh my goodness, the Almighty's representative, my brain is telling me that's what I am. No, it's not. It's not a representative of your Almighty. It's a garbage. It's just gone kaput. Okay, capiche? And you're not a coward. You think you are because your brain has suggested that to you. But in reality, you're not. How could you be a coward when you're living your life and having aspirations and having goals and things you want to accomplish? You're independent entity. That's why you have things other than what other people have. You have other goals. You can create those goals and you can accomplish them. And brain cannot do shit to it because brain has no power. You have the power. Power of perseverance, power of vetoing what the brain suggests, power of choices. And did you know when you veto what the brain or anybody else suggests, brain is not even active in its electromagnetic when you're vetoing something. It doesn't even know you vetoed it. It's not like when you make a choice and brain can become aware of it. Making a choice, anybody can make a choice. But the real power is in the veto, and you are the only one who has the veto power. Brain doesn't. Because when you veto something, according to Professor Leibert's experiment in laboratory, when they had all these magnetical apparatuses hooked up to everyone's brain, they were measuring and logging the time when they would actually veto something and check the time on the wall and log it down, write it down. And when they would check the magnetic fields at that moment, they see there is no magnetic function or interaction in the brain. There is no magnetic field generated in the brain, meaning brain was not even active when you were actually vetoing something. So brain is not you. Brain is not everything that you think it is. It's an apparatus that you up it. You actually, it's dominated by you because when you make a certain decision, it can't even interfere. So that's a very important thing for you to know, to have the confidence that you're not a coward. It just tells you are, but you're not. You're doing your life. And all there is needed for you not to be a coward is to simply get up in the morning, go and do your things. That's all. Because you think about the fear is in your heart. There is really no fear. Fear doesn't exist other than the fear of wild animal attacking you or a truck about to hit you. That fear, that instinct, that's different. But we're talking about psychological fear. There is no such a fear, but you create fear by thinking what it was, what it is, what it could be. You just created fear. Otherwise, in the real moment, in the present moment, there is no comparison what it was, what it could be. It's what it is. And what it is, there is no fear. You're dealing with it, whatever it is. There's no fear. Your fear only created when you compare these time differences, time and space. So if you understand the concept, which I have it in my book, Me, My Psyche and I, it's on my site. You can purchase it, very nominal. It used to be $80 when I would ship it out anywhere in the world, actual paper, but I've turned it into a price that anybody can acquire it, and that's a ebook version. I think the same $80 is being sold for like $7 or $8, and it's 360 pages. Lots of interesting things in it, including meditation, including where is the brain's home, where is the mind's home. It's including what fear is, including lots of interesting things about what is thoughts, what is thinking, what is consciousness, and so on and so forth. These are things that you got to know about yourself. So by educating yourself, becoming aware of all these things, then you wouldn't have to be fearful and believe the garbage that the brain says that you're a coward. Who says you're a coward? Every one of us have certain kind of a fear from the something or rather the other. That doesn't mean you're a coward. You're continuing your life and you're learning life and experiencing things, and you will through your experiences, you become less and less fearful of things that hasn't happened or you're worried about it could happen and all that. But that, none of it means you're a coward. So stop putting yourself down and focus on your learning process and don't expect to learn everything right now. You're learning as you go. So do your best and that's good enough. Eddie Dubs says, hey, I have a question. Hey, tell me your age, gender, where you're tuning in from, which country, and all that. So at least I'll know a little bit about you, then I'll get to your question. And so what else do we have here? So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes of break so you can get your questions together, and then I'll warm up my tea and I'll be right back. How about that? Good? All right, we're back. So let's see if we have any new questions. No, and we don't have any more information from Eddie Dubs. So I'll wait until I have that information they requested, and then we'll get on to the questions. We have David Gebel, says male 30, Switzerland. Thank you very much for that. My son was in Switzerland last year this time, I believe. And last time I saw Switzerland was 2000, 2010. Yeah? No. That was way before that. I like Switzerland. My father liked Switzerland. He lived there actually for a while, working there. He was a lawyer and he was representing a certain international corporation against the government of Iran. He was a gutsy man. God bless you, Dad. So he always talked highly about Switzerland. He liked it. So, male 30 Switzerland says, I cannot get the images of the life with my ex out of my head. Oh. It's been 8 months and mentally I'm still living in our old apartment. I still wake up every day longing for her. Okay. And how's it gone? How's it been going? You know, you sleep where you sleep, but you think you're in your old apartment with her. And how's it been going? You happy with it? Like working out fine? Has it helped you to find happiness and move on with your life? This whole idea of having her in your thoughts day in, day out, how has it improved your life? Or has it made it miserable? What has it done to the quality of your life? If it's been good, continue. Why are you complaining about it? If it hasn't been good, hasn't let you go forward with your life, find another wonderful woman, and has made you miserable, why would you like to continue something that makes you miserable and unhappy? Well, if you do, you're either masochist, or you just don't give a shit about yourself, or you just don't understand that in order to understand her, you need to bring her actuality of who she is today, how she behaved with you, how your relationship ended up to be, to your attention. If you don't understand that you need to bring her actuality to your attention, and you're still superimposing what she was and how she was and who she was and how she behaved with you when you had met and how lovey-dovey everything was, and you superimpose that to what she is and how she is and how she behaves and reacts and interacts with you now, then you can never see her actuality. When you can never see her actuality, what's there not to like about her? Because you're not focusing on who she has become, what she has developed into, or what this relationship has ended up to bring into both of you. You don't want to see it. How can you not like it? Because you were still thinking about how everything was, and how everything was when you guys were lovey-dovey. It was pleasant. So why would you want to separate yourself from that? That's one thing. Secondly, listen carefully. These are gold that is coming out of my mouth, and I'm not getting paid for it. So you know that. So you better pay attention, because just because it's free doesn't mean its worth is free and nothing. It's very valuable, but I'm giving it to you guys, so I want you guys to use it and get on with your lives. Look, you're thinking about her because every human being on this earth has created an order in his or her life. Why? Because human psyche is seeking and looking for security. It doesn't find security the same way that a physical portion of its being finds security. As we talked about a few minutes ago in a different question, your physical entity, your physical portion of your entity, your body, finds security through a safe physical environment. It feels safe when things are safe around. But the mind doesn't find security in safe physical environment. Mind is virtual. It finds its security in order of life, in how things are being done. The order. And the order is created by things that you do during the day. Before you met her, you were doing your own things during the day. And all those things you were doing during the day, since you get up till you sleep, is called mechanical process. And through those mechanical processes, you would create a routine. And that routine would end up being the order of your day, order of your life. And she was doing the same thing when she hadn't met you. She had her own mechanical process, the things that she was doing during the day, and through which she created a routine, and that routine was her order by the things she was doing during the day. When you guys got together, you were interfering in her order, her routine, and she was interfering in your order, your routine. So you guys, after a while, compromised and got some of the stuff out, and the rest of the stuff you kept, and then you created new things that you were doing together, getting up, saying hello, texting, or going to, I don't know, movies together, going to your jobs or school, and then meeting afterwards, dinner, or making dinner together, or going to cinema, or whatever, depending if you're living together or not, I don't know. But all these shared things that you were doing, cooperation things that you were doing together, had created new routine for you, new mechanical processes, combining the things, some of the things you were doing when you were not together, and then plus the things that you started doing together, created a new routine for both of you, a new order of life for both of you. Now, this routine, this order was being made by two people, not four people, two people. When you guys broke up, one of the entities that was sharing and helping to create this order was no longer there. So you could not have the same order that you had when she was with you, and she could not have the same order that she had when she was with you. You were with her. So the order no longer could continue the way it was being run. And if it couldn't continue, that means neither one of you had the order that you did enjoy. And in what does your brain finds security? We said in the order of things. So now that the order is broken, the brain, the mind is insecure, cannot find security. But it wants security. So where does it go to find security? It goes into the memory, because in memory, everything is recorded. We, as a species, we record things 24/7. We record things, and we have recorded the order. So both of you, in your case, I'm talking about you. I don't know what she's doing. Your brain wants security, can't find it in the order because the order is broken. One of the manufacturers, one of the makers of the order is gone. So the order cannot continue, but it wants the order. So brain goes into the memory because it knows in the memory it can't find the order. It's recorded. And because brain is a virtual thing, and it cannot tell the difference between virtuality and actuality, when it's in the memory, for the brain, that's actuality. So it enjoys it. It feels secure because the order is there and stays there, wants to stay, feels safe, doesn't want to come out in the regular actuality world. It just wants to stay there. That's why you're constantly thinking of her, because the brain thinks that the only safe place for it is to be in the memory. And while it's in the memory, enjoying the security, who else is there? It's recording, remember. She's in the memory as well. So when she's in the memory and you see her in the memory, you think that you're actually missing her, that she was all there is to be. And you cannot go on because you're constantly thinking of her. No, she's there because your brain is in the memory. Yeah, but you're not missing her. You're missing the order. Your discomfort is because the order is not there, not because she's not there. She happens to be in the memory, and you're there for the security, and you notice her, and you think, well, and when you notice her, what happens in the memory? She triggers the desire file. And desire has certain steps to be born. These steps are also recorded. So when the trigger, her, is in the memory while the brain is looking for security, she's there, she flips the trigger of the desire file opens up, and guess what? All the prerequisites for desiring her that needs to be there before you desire something, in this case her, it's already in the file recorded. When it's triggered and open, the brain thinks all the prerequisites for desiring her is already met. Therefore, the new desire for her is born. So you miss her now because you desire her now. And from that desire that you can't get, you miss her, and you're now in search of her to fulfill your desire. All of that is in the memory. And because you have not created a new order by creating new mechanical processes, by creating new things that you should do during the day, new friends, new associations, new things you like to do, new hobbies, new learning things. You didn't do any of that. Therefore, you didn't create a new routine, which would create a new order. And when there is a new order, the brain doesn't have to go into memory because it says, I have an order in the actual life, so I participate in that and I feel secure because there is an order in this life. You didn't create a new order. You let the old order break, and the brain cannot find security because there's no order anymore. She's not there. And you didn't make an effort to make new order, new routines. And it goes into the memory. In the memory, sees her. When seeing her triggers the desire file. Desire file is complete. And then you desire her and you start looking for her instead of focusing on making the new order through new mechanical processes, which you're supposed to do in order to move on. And that's all she wrote. Now, you guys know that I have a site, www.mind that seeks truth.com. Mindthatseekstruth.com. You can go in there if should you wish to do so, and you make an appointment for us to chat on Skype, and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype from wherever you are. Now, the roasting home says, sir, sometimes, come on, guys, what happened to the idea of introducing yourself? Age, gender, where are you tuning in from? I'm not going to answer anybody who hasn't done that. Thanks. And Roger McCartney says, I love these chats. Thank you. We love for you to be here. And Arnold's Skulskis says, hello, sir. I'm 32, male, Australia. Thank you for that. Says, how to deal with unhealthy attachments. Well, give me a specific, please. How to easier let go those who doesn't give you any more benefit in life. Tried meditation, etc., but still deeply attached. I really don't know the exact question to be able to answer the best I can, because you're being kind of secretive. Attachment to what? Mother, father, dog, girlfriend, wife, bicycle, money? So I need to know that. Attachment to my exer. Now you're talking. Well, I just gave you the answer when I was answering our friend David Gebel from Switzerland. I think you might want to check that out, because if you have the attachment towards her, one reason of many is that you don't have a new order. And so your brain goes into the memory to find the old order to feel secure. In there finds your wife, and therefore the file for desire about her triggered, opens, brain recognizes all prerequisites for desiring her is met, because those are also, when it was met, is recorded in the brain, and therefore you desire her. But it's not because you really desire her, it's because you've been, nudged on your file, desire file, and you've made it active, even though you may not necessarily want it to be active. And it wouldn't be activated because it's no longer in contact with her. But the trigger has opened the file of desire. In that file, all prerequisites are met. So the brain is full, thinks, okay, it's all met. So I should now allow desiring the pleasure of being with her. So you need to watch that, see what the sequence is, what you should have to do for that, which would be creating a new order. But also you have to recognize the world did not get summed up in one woman or one man, depending on what your, your situation is. So you can't really assume that there is only one woman that can be the salvation of your life. And another thing is that you have been somehow accepting her to be the entirety of the world, entirety of life for you. Somehow you created this image of her that she's best of the best, there's nothing better than her. How do you know? If she was the best of the best, she would still be with you. So that already has gone out the window. If she's not there laying beside you every night, she's laying beside somebody else. And why would you want somebody who's laying beside somebody else to be yours when she was yours and you guys didn't work it out somehow? Whatever happens, I don't give a shit. Just she left. The fact that she's left, however it has caused that, whoever did, I don't care. All it matters is that she has left. She's not with you. Why would you want someone who's not with you? Why would you want someone who has left you? If she was the best of the best and the most compatible, she would still be with you. The fact that she's not, that means that's your clue. That's your cue to move on. That's not the right girl for you. But we as a human being are not accustomed to understand when you lose something or you don't have something, that's the extent of it. I don't have it. It doesn't have any other meaning. But since childhood, every time we did something bad or something that our parents or the teacher didn't want us to do, whether bad or good, they didn't want us to do, we were not being in their control at that moment, we did something that they didn't want us to do, they took something away. So we are unconsciously conditioned to think, if something we lose or something is taken away from us one way or another, I've done something bad. That means we've done something bad. You think that you've done something bad because something is taken away from you. So psychologically, you're trying to get that back in order to prove to yourself that I'm not bad, I'm good. Mommy, I'm good. Give me the cookie back. Teacher, I'm good. I'll study better. Give me a good grade. I'm good. Don't tell me I'm bad. Because all our life they've told us we're not good enough. You've always been compared with the uncle's son that he got, 100 A in math, and auntie's daughter or uncle's daughter, whatever. That look how wonderfully she has dressed herself, how beautiful and polite she is. We've always been compared with some fucker dude somewhere, and as if we are not good enough. So that has gone to your head that you're not good enough. And when something is taken away from you, you feel terrible that I'm not good enough because something is taken away from me, which means it's a punishment. That means I've done something bad. That means I'm bad. So I gotta get that back to feel whole. I gotta find what was lost so I can feel I have everything. I'm not less than what I was yesterday. Because if something is taken away from me, that means I'm less. Because they've always brainwashed me that I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. I have to be more. So I wanted to have that bicycle to feel more. I wanted to have that car to feel more. I wanted to have more money to feel more. I wanted to have that jacket to feel more. So if I don't have it, that means I'm less. So when it goes out, I'm less. When it comes in, I'm more. Now the girlfriend, the wife has gone out. That means I'm less. So I've done something bad. I got to get it back. I got to get it back to prove to the world and to myself that I'm not less, I'm more. These are what's fucking you up. Because you have turned to think that that X is making you more or less rather than, fuck, no. When you didn't have her, were you less? You didn't have her, it wasn't in your life, but you were still more. So now you don't have her, you're just as much. But you don't think this way. We're brainwashed to think that we got to have them because we got to have their approval. We got to have somebody to affirm us. And if she's not here, then I won't feel that I'm good enough for someone to be with me. Who is she that her presence in your life makes you feel you're better than you would be if she's not? Who? What has she accomplished? Where has she come from? Has she fed the world or taken care of the elderly or has saved the children? Is she Mother Teresa? I mean, what happens that she's so important that her affirmation of you and approval of you makes you or breaks you? Instead, you're going to have confidence in yourself and confidence in many other millions and billions of women out there that you have the opportunity to meet. If this wasn't it, why should it be the only one that you should have to feel whole? Why not take it as that she wasn't the right one? That's why she's not with me. So I got to now search for the right one. And I'm excited about that. What kind of a misery this new one is going to bring me? Well, exciting. All right. So there are a lot more to talk about. Again, I can't go on for the whole entirety of the program. Again, you can always reach me, you guys, at my site, mindthatseekstruth.com. I put the link up there. Make an appointment with me on Skype and we'll discuss what's concerning you, whether it's broken heart, whether it's emotional hardship, whether it's a breakup, or it's OCD or OCD subsets. We'll discuss what is happening with your psyche and what is it that you need to do and how to bring the default setting back and bring your tranquility, equilibrium, and happiness on its way to your life again. And we have Chris Winterpracht. Sounds Deutsch, isn't it? Christine Winterpracht says, Mehran, do you have any advice to my question, please? Okay, dear, what is the question? Aha, I missed your question here. Says, now, Christine, please, before I go on, because I did the same thing for a bunch of other ones here, let me know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from, and I'll get to your question right away, okay? Once I have that, I'll get to your question. Let's see who has complied with that little information we asked. The Roasting Home says, hello, sir. My name is Himanshu, and I'm 18 years old. I'm from India. Thank you for that. Says, sir, sometimes a thought suddenly come with strong belief that my dad and mom die if I don't do compulsion. Compulsion like, please, God, don't do this, please. Yeah, it's a typical OCD. I had that. Like I thought, but it wasn't like strong belief. I mean, you're making such a big deal out of it. It's just a fucked up brain that every human psyche in this world, all 8 point whatever plus billion of us have intrusive thought, have some kind of OCD. At one time or another, they may just think they don't have, but they do. Because they want to look like they're perfect. Oh, no, I don't have it. Okay. The human psyche is the same. It's still work in progress and it's fucked up as ever because it was just, 40,000 years ago that we ended up having this kind of brain that we have. And it's still not perfect. It's still in progress. So you can be damn sure that every single human being on this earth has this challenge. Now, what was I saying? Strong belief. I mean, that's just the way you're putting it to demonstrate how annoying it is. But it's not a belief, it's just the way that you are so eager to protect your loved ones, protect what you love, that the notion of something interfering with that what you want it to be, such as your parents to be safe, and you want to be assured of it, so you make it a little bit bigger than what it is, because it makes no difference if it's strong belief or a belief or idea or thought, still going to be annoying just as much. I used to think like if I don't touch the light switch off and on 10 times or 5 times, I won't pass my exam, or something happens to my dad or to my mom. I lived with it all my childhood because I didn't know better. I didn't know. I just said, okay, sure, I'll touch that 5 times to make sure, my brother, my uncle, or whatever, my dad, my horse, my tennis racket. I win this match, or I win, I get good grades, or some girl that I see on the way to school would smile at me or like me, or I get to know her, all that shit, it's a way. I've talked about OCD in many of the videos, though I'm going to cut it short here because it's an elaborate discussion. We're all looking for psychological security. And ever since millions of years ago, we're looking for physical security. And later on, when physical security were relatively taken care of, we wanted psychological security. And in order to find psychological security, we have no way to find it because psychological security is never to be attained. But we still want it. So how can we do it? We got to create it. So we believe that there's a watcher out there that is actually checking out what we do and how we think, how humble we are and how weak we are. Because if we are strong, we think the Almighty or whoever is watching will not like it because we're arrogant, we're too strong, we believe in ourselves. So we have to be, ever since childhood, they've told us, they've conditioned us to be a pussy. Not to be assertive, not to be confident, because being confident is being impolite to the older people. I have to say, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I will do that, teacher. Yes, I have to be apologetic. I have to be weak. I have to show weakness, submissiveness. That's how they trained us. Now, the same idea since childhood, you felt if you want your parents to be safe and healthy, you cannot be confident that they will be. You have to be miserable and weak and a pussy and beg for it. Please, please. So what am I going to do? I don't know if the watcher is actually watching. Oh, maybe if I touch this 5 times, it would be a balance in my head and somehow I would be able to say, okay, because I did this, what the brain told me to do, it will give me that satisfaction and assurance of health and safety for my parents. We just fucking make this up because our psyche needs it and we have no way of creating it. So we create a fictitious way as if there's a watcher out there that if I do this will favor me with what I'm really wishing for. And then that becomes your habit because every time you do a compulsion for obsession, you're actually feeling good after the compulsion. I touched the light a few times, or when, in your case, whatever it is that you say, the compulsion, it makes you feel, okay, everything is good. My parents going to be safe. And that will secrete dopamine. So after a while, you think you're doing it for the obsession when you do the compulsion, but you're really doing it to get the dopamine because dopamine is addictive and makes you feel good. Safe. Huh? And after many, many times doing it to get the dopamine, you're no longer doing it for dopamine either. You think you're doing the compulsion for the obsession. You think you're doing it maybe to feel good and get the dopamine, but in fact, neither one. You're actually doing it because all along you were stimulating the third cycle in the striatum and basal ganglion midbrain, which is the habit center. And that has become your habit. No longer you believe that it's going to save your parents or you don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it 5 times, turning the light switch off and on because it's become your habit. And that's going to be tough to get rid of unless you now attach it to your health and say, this habit will cause me not to be so healthy. So you'll use that in order to get rid of it. But before that, you're doing all that in order to create a safe environment for your loved ones or to protect what it is in your life that is very meaningful and worthwhile to protect. And since you can't protect it, you can't protect it against the future, whatever else might happen, you make a deal with an unknown entity and you believe that unknown entity will favor you with what you're looking for. And exactly in the Pharaoh's time, they would go in their basement, make a statue and come bring the statue out and pray to it to bring a better harvest this year. bring rain. Just a belief. Bullshit. All bullshit. But that's the kind of a thing we do to create psychological security and bring that kind of a assurance to live, because we are not used to live in an uncertain world. We want certainty, and we can't create that certainty. Nobody can. So we create some kind of a fictitious scenario and setting that we believe that that certainty is acquired if I do these things and so on. Because we always learn, if I want something, I got to do something else. So here it is. I'm doing something for something in the sky that is watching or thinking or seeing me living. You know, we all think that, you know, something is watching, witnessing my living, no? And so you deal with that, whatever it is, and you create these things, a habit for yourself, and you end up suffering because it's going to stop you. It gets so bad sometimes that you can't fucking do anything. You got to touch this, touch that, and do this, and go over this square, and, you know, jump in the air 5 times, and all kind of shit, crazy things. I know, I've done all that. So, having said that, let's go back to see if Christina's given. Oh, there he is. It says, I'm female, 28, from Germany. All right, Christine, let's go back to your question. And the question is, hello, Miran. I'm female, 28, from Germany. Oh, you had already said that. I missed that. I'm sorry, I asked again then. My fault. My fault. It was before your question. I apologize, Christine. All right. It says, I only want to get my straight self and my straight life back. Miran, if I don't want to be gay, bi, and I know I can only live happy straight, then I am straight, right? Nothing can change your inclination. Nothing can change your gender. I don't care how many times it comes to your brain, to your mind, to your thoughts, something that you're bi or you're gay or this and that, it will never happen. The power that the brain has can make your body react to some kind of a thought of some kind, but it has the power to make the body react when there's no such thing present. But it doesn't mean that it can actually change your gender or command you to become something that you don't want to become. Because remember, the ultimate power is in the veto. When you veto some decision that you have made, even you have made, not just the brain created or suggested, when you veto on that, brain has no electromagnetic activities at the moment that you make that decision. Brain is oblivious to your powers and to your choice. So there is no way in hell that the brain's suggestion, OCD or HOCD suggestion, can actually turn you into some kind of a gender that you never wanted, been, or wished to be, or preferred to be. It can annoy the hell out of you. It can scare the shit out of you. It can take your focus away to the point that you won't even get aroused on the opposite sex that you've always been interested in, because it's not because your interest to the opposite sex has gone away. No, not at all. It's there, but it's you're being distracted by so many statics and suggestions and things that you're not comfortable with. You're against it for you. You do not prefer it, that you can't even focus on what it is that you naturally are capable to be interested in. As I mentioned many times, it's just like when you look toward the window, you can see the ocean and the mountain, or not the ocean and the mountain together. You see the ocean and the trees and birds and so on and so forth. But it's been a while that you can't see that exact thing that I just explained and you always saw clearly. So what happened? It's not there anymore? No, they're there. Your window is not clean. It's got bird shit on it. It's got debris on it. It's got dust on it. You got to clean the window. Otherwise, when you clean the window, everything that it was out there is still out there. but it wasn't so clearly visible because it was foggy. Debris on it, not a clean, clear window. Same thing. Everything you've always been and wanted to be, you're still there. That's not going to change. But the distraction is like having made it foggy for you to focus on what it is that you've always preferred and your gender is all about. Once you be able to understand the relationship between brain and you, that you're not the brain, and brain is not you, and what brain suggests or images or things is not representation of you or your preferences at all. It just happens to be mounted on your head, this brain, and it projects its images and suggestions on the screen of your head. But that doesn't mean just because it's all happening in your head, then it is you and you agree with it and it's part of you. That's the screen of it. It's like you have a television in your home and you think that because it's playing, I don't know, some kind of a movie that or some kind of a poetry that it's reading or some kind of a program, that it is you who made that program. No, it's a TV, has a power to receive from all other stations certain kind of a programming that you had nothing to do with. Its capability and its job is to receive all these suggestions, all these frequencies that it translates into a program and shows you a certain picture. But you did not create it just because the TV is sitting in your living room. It's a different entity, has a different broadcasting system. It receives, it has the power of receiving, so it receives. But what it receives and you see it is not your doing. And you can change the channel. The same thing here. All these intrusive thoughts that show up about your gender or suggestions or images and whatnot, it's irrelevant to you. You get annoyed because it's in the screen of your head and something that you don't want to see, but you have a hard time changing the channel. That's all. Otherwise, there's so many things happening in the head on daily basis, about 80, 90,000 thoughts a day that you're not even aware of. And when you are, you just automatically call it nucleus, shuts it down because it's not in line with your values. But when it's malfunctioning, all these thoughts that are not in line with your values, they don't disappear automatically as it's designed for carded nucleus to make them shut down. When it doesn't, they hover. And when they hover and they remain in the screen of your head, you think it must mean something because it didn't go away. But most of them, when you're not in the glitch of OCD, these 80, 90,000 thoughts a day, they show up and they disappear because the moment they show up, your carded nucleus shuts it down because it's not in line with your values. It knows it. So you kind of see, oh, that's a nasty thought, and it's gone. But now, that's a nasty thought, and it stays. Oh, when it stays, that means I'm changing. No, you're not. It's just a malfunction of signaling system of the brain. Otherwise, these intrusive thoughts has been there, and it's been there in everybody's brain, comes and the carded nucleus does its job, shuts it off, and it's gone. Now that it's malfunction, it doesn't shut it off, it stays, and you think, oh my goodness, it didn't go away. Even though they used to come and go away in everybody's head. Because the brain doesn't really care who you are, what you are. It makes anything as a thought. But carded nucleus knows your values and gender and everything and shuts it down. That's why before you didn't notice it and you didn't pay attention to it. Now, the one responsible, the lever responsible to shut these intrusive thoughts out and stop them is not doing its job. So you think, then, oh, what is this? I'm afraid. Is that changing me? No. It was part of the malfunction of the brain all the time, but there was a mechanism that was actually stopping this malfunction and correcting it and not bringing to your attention the things that were not in line with your values. Now that it's not working, the things that are not in line with your values and the brain produces it, comes to your attention. And then you think it must mean something. No. It's the brain's doing, not your doing. And nothing is going to change in you. You just have to learn how to help the brain to rewire itself so it will end up getting back to the default setting and it will function as it was designed to. The topic of the intrusive thought showing up in the brain is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's just not you. You're not involved. It's not about you. It's about the malfunction of the brain. with all these topics that seep through the brain. Brain picks up from the inventory of information that's come in, as it has happened in the real world out there, in the actual world, and makes thoughts with it. But before, there was a lever that would understand that this thought is not in line with your values, and it would just make it dissipate quickly as it would show up. Now it doesn't. And then you notice it and you say, oh my goodness. So the difference is that before it would show up and your system would say, hey, that's not the right place for it here. And now it shows up, the system doesn't do that job. Otherwise, nothing has changed in you, nothing will change in you. It's just the mechanism is not working to do its job as it was designed to do. All right. Shabham Bansal says, sir, you're ignoring me. Am I? Why? Yeah, but Shabham, I didn't ignore you, but this is a question that needs no answer. It's sir, how to get 100% wisdom? Who has 100% wisdom? Who? Who has 100% wisdom? Nobody. I mean, you're asking some question that is just, honestly, it's just not worthy of you asking it. You gain wisdom throughout your life all the time. It's not like I gain wisdom, so I don't need. If I gain all the wisdom, why am I living? What's my motivation? To learn what? I've got it all. I can change everything. I don't have the wisdom. You don't have the wisdom. Wisdom comes as we experience in life, and we challenge and we deal with things as they show up. We gain wisdom. So living as best as you can, making as best as you can decisions is going to give you wisdom in this journey of life. 100% wisdom, nobody has it, nobody will have it, nobody has ever had it. But relative wisdom, yeah, we all have, and we all advance and grow and get more of it through the experience of life, through making best decisions that we can as we could. That's it. Through perseverance, through not giving up, through not panicking, and through resolving and figuring out ways how to manage things that needs managing, rather than just laying down and die. Then you gain more and more wisdom through all these experiences in life. And you didn't tell me how old you are, where you're tuning in from, and your gender. So you guys expect me to do and answer your questions, but you can't even do that one little thing that I've asked. Miyamoto is here, says, hello, Mehran, how are you? Hello, Miyamoto, how are you, dear? Arnold says, damn, that makes so much sense, but for some reason I forgot all that so quickly. I'm back to beautiful memories, which is just an illusion. Okay, good for you. Adam Parkin says, I'm still recovering from HOCD. It's like you're waiting, stopping, putting on pause your life till you recover from HOCD. No, you need to continue your life, do everything that you always wanted to do and you've been doing, and live your lifestyle the way you've always lived it and you prefer to live it. And that is what life is all about. And during that course of advancement and improvement and development of your life, the HOCD will also resolve while you know what to do. Since I've discussed with you Dr. Schwartz's way of dealing and helping the brain, and many other wise teachers and scholars such as Dr. Phillipson, Dr. Jan Rayner, and so on, that if you watch the programs or if you use the videos that I've made, hundreds and hundreds of them, educate yourself, become expert in understanding what OCD subset, intrusive thoughts, and so on are, and you don't wait until you recover. There's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with the brain. Nothing wrong with you. You don't need to wait until you recover. You do all your responsibilities and duties exactly as you did before HOCD. Life is not going to wait for you till you recover. Life is going to crush you down and just take advantage of the difficult situation that you're going through and fuck you up. And if you're really caring and want to be strong, you continue dead ahead, steady as she goes, like ever before, regardless of HOCD, OCD, whatever the shit is. Attend to your duties and responsibilities, and then also use your wisdom and knowledge with what you have learned education to deal and help the brain to get back to default setting. You don't wait around. So still struggling with false attraction, anxiety, and my thoughts have flared up again. What am I doing wrong? Nothing. You're just paying too much attention to all these flare-ups. It flares up. What? It's like you so much gas in you that you got to fart. So, oh my goodness, I tried not to fart, but it farted. Well, you got to fart and let it go. So these things are just feces of the brain. It just comes out and annoys the hell out of you. But you're not supposed to say, oh my goodness, this annoyed me. I should. It's like a fart. Let it go. That's it. Done. Finished. Night. Oh, that fart, oh, I got to see what was in it. What does it smell like? Just stop fussing about the thought that shows up. Just recognize it's a nasty thought and then do the first step and get on with it. That's it. You don't have to debate. Why are you here? What does it mean? Why should I have it? Why me? I'm a heterosexual. I'm this. Yeah, it's all true, but you don't have to debate why. There's no why. It's fucked up. The brain is fucked up. The brain is fucked up. Look, how can I say it? And we all share that. We all the same. I don't know why I'm speaking like the fucking Klaus Schwab. Oh. They won't, Adam. They won't come true. It's a fear. That's all. Because you're so protective and loving the way you are and you prefer. So anything that could suggest to it that's going to bring any kind of a contradiction to what you want it to be freaks you out. That's all. Otherwise, there's no power to it. And don't be afraid of the sensation or the feelings or the false attraction. These are all part of the OCD, part of the HOCD. It doesn't mean just because now that you have, then that means it's not HOCD. It's turning into something. No, it is that. Those feelings, all of it, false attraction, anxiety, no anxiety, the feelings and the bodily reaction, all of that is HOCD driven. It's not that it's advancing, it's becoming more. No, it's all part of that shit, same shit. So relax. Shubham, male 31, India. I love you, sir. Thank you very much, Shubham. I love you too. And yeah, Adam, that's why you should rely on the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz. And I have a video on that. Watch that. Just put in 4 steps in the search engine of my channel. And Dr. Schwartz 4 step is explained through the video by me. And you will become more and more versed to know how to deal with this thing. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen to you, but it's just going to drive you nuts because it's just so disturbing, And funny enough is that homosexuals also have an opposite kind of HOCD that we heterosexuals have. So it hits anybody and everybody. So just because you're having HOCD doesn't mean you're going to change to something else. And the same thing when the homosexual person has HOCD, it's not that he's going to be changing something, but he's fearful of being changed to heterosexual. And the same thing, heterosexuals are fearful that it's not going to happen, that they will become homosexual. It's all OCD-based subsets of OCD, HOCD. It's all part of that. All those reactions, all those fears, all part of that. The Rostingholm says, sir, when this thought comes related to my dad and mom will die, I get scared. Yeah, sure, you get scared. Of course. But you should understand, this is not reality. This is the brain's fucked upness, not reality. But it's so powerful that you believe what brain thinks. You hate it to be anything to do with the health of your parents, that even the thought of it annoys you so much, even though you can tell that it can't be true because it's a thought. Thought does not have the power to change the universal scenarios, because if it did, well, the first thing I would do is say, give me a $2 million in the bank and 2 million subs. That's a thought. No, still 27,000 subs and no $2 million in the bank. I mean, if thought has such powers that can do those things that you guys think, it's so amazing. If anything can do that, no power can do that, then naturally could have done the 2 million and 2 million subs. Not doing it, that means it can't do anything else either. Your dad and mom are going to be fine. They are already taking care of themselves. And if anything happens, has nothing to do with you did this or didn't do that or did this compulsion or didn't. It's all part of OCD. It's all fucked up. If something that you never want happens tomorrow, it's got nothing to do with this not doing this compulsion or doing the other compulsion. No, it's just because it happens, it was going to happen no matter what. Viewpoint says, thank you, sir. I have been following you last 6 months. It's very helpful to me. Great. Delighted to hear that. And have I answered everyone? Looks like I have. All right, then. It's been 1 hour and 42 minutes. It's time for me to have a new tea and also watch a movie or hit the sack. And I thank you guys. Thank you all, guys and gals, for everything, for being here. Thank you for the super chat. Great Jedi Serena, very gracious to us, and everybody else. So it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.